Good morning. This is Harold Zawadzki. I'm the chair of the Fairfield Board of Assessment Appeals. Today is Friday, April the 30th. The time is 9:02 a.m. and I'm calling this meeting to order. This meeting is for the deliberation and voting upon appeals properly brought before the board. Kathy is our minutes secretary this morning. Kathy, could you please do a roll call of the attendees?
Yes, good morning. Paulette Cuso.
Here.
Kathleen Griffin.
Here.
Alexis Harrison. Alexis is not present. Peter Rupert. Peter is not present. Harold Zawadzki.
Here.
Ronique Patel. Ronique is not present. John Spoilier. John is not present. Judy Zablack.
Here.
Catherine Giff.
Here.
That completes the roll call.
Thank you very much, Kathy. So this morning, we wanted to see if we could complete the commercial properties and also a few real estate properties that we have left. Does someone want to begin with the commercial properties? Kathleen?
Yeah, or does Catherine want to do her land one first? What do you want to do? Catherine, you want to do?
Go for the commercial. Let's get them done. I mean, I'd love if you need a break, I'll slide in the land. Appreciate it. But tough straw.
Judy, you want to start or you want me to go?
I have one that I've been very passionate about since I heard it.
Okay.
And it's actually two. They're close by together. So here's what we're going to do. This is appeal number 181. And I'm going to start with this. We could do 182. Just know that that this is also appeal 182. So I'm going to do 181, and I'm going to address that first, and then we'll move forward. Okay? Or actually, yeah, we're going to do 181. The property owner's name is 653 Post Road Corporation. The property is located at 653 Post Road in Fairfield, obviously. Towns has a property valued at $1,573,900. The appellant's opinion of fair market value is $900,000 after it's cleaned. So $900,000 is what he requested. And I make a motion to approve the appellant's opinion of fair market value at $900,000. Is there a second?
Catherine will second.
Okay, thank you. These two, this property, 181 and 182. 182 is 53 Belmont Street. They are severely impacted environmentally. So if we go on to 180, we're on 181. Bear with me. Actually, I think I started 182, right? Did I start 182?
This is Harold. I believe you mentioned 181 first, but you said that it applied to 182.
Yeah, they're both together.
This is Kathleen. Judy, sorry. Why don't you, I mean, we could just, if we discuss them together, we did that last night. So in the minutes, Kathy, you know how Peter discussed a couple properties together. I would just say that the first motion was to discuss the two of the properties together. And I think that that's appropriate. It's hard for her to go back and forth. Is that okay?
Okay, so
Thank you.
let me, for the record, put in 182 because there's a different value on that, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so for the record, appeal number 182. The property owner's name is 653 Post Road Corp. I don't have the town's value there. The appellant's opinion, fair market value is 200,000.
It's 512,600 is what I have.
Right, okay. As I said, I felt more strongly about this. I heard 88 appeals, and this one just resonated with me. These are commercial properties that have been impacted by oil, with prior gas station. and they're in the process of cleanup, but cleanup doesn't happen right away. In my experience as a commercial real estate broker, when we came across these properties, they essentially had a negative value because the cleanup was so incredibly expensive that it negated the actual cost of the land. What he's included, and he came, this is actually going to take probably 3 to 5 years to get it actually up to stuff, only because the EPA has got to be involved and it takes a lot of time. There are site monitors all over, and if you look on page 21 on appeal number 181, you can he actually brought in the plan with all the site monitors. And if you look at it, you'll be able to see how many site monitors are there. There's nothing he can do with this until it gets cleaned up. So it is, this was a gas station between one or two of them was an old gas station. It was a former gas station in the 20s and 30s with coal and gas. And as I said, there's so much money and time in order to get this property to even be. There's nothing that can be done with it. Nothing. Zero. Nada.
This is Kathleen. I'm sorry, Ross, can you bring it up on the GIS so we can see which lot it is? If this is a parking lot behind the donut.
Belmont and on the corner of Belmont and the Post Road. So one of these properties is on Belmont, 53 Belmont, and the other one is 653 Post Road.
Is this the one across from the restaurant, the American Joe's? Is that what we're talking about?
Like near Circle K, in that general vicinity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Because different cards. I just want to make sure I'm picturing.
We actually have a comparable. He actually submitted a comparable. There was one over on Bronson Road that was severely contaminated, which closed April 1 of 2020 for $150,000. So the one on the Post Road, he's looking for a value of 200. He did supply a comp. The one on 653, that's at 900. And I've got to tell you, I mean, I think that's probably too high considering the amount of work and time in order to get there.
So this is Kathleen. It says on the field card that it's the parking lot for Duchess. So does he rent the parking lot to Duchess?
Another parking lot for that.
Restaurant, yeah. The property description says restaurant, commercial property.
On the parking lot.
Yeah, that's the, and that is problematic.
So it's usable because he's able to use the parking lot. It's just if he wanted to build something on it, it needs cleanup. Is that?
There's, I have the attached letters. Let me get to that one. That is.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to make sure I know which property. So it's in Ross's picture, the subject property is in the middle, the parking lot's to the right, right? The second lot is that lot to the right. Okay.
Well, that belongs, and that's really the two together. And I think he just probably leases that over to
Duchess.
Duchess. But I do want to check that. I really want to concentrate on Post Road now because I'm looking at that particular appeal. And then I'll go over to the other. So he submitted pictures of all of the wells there, the monitoring wells. Submitted a map of the monitoring wells.
Is he planning to continue it as a gas station? Because I'm just.
Oh, probably not. I don't think it matters what he wants to do with it. He can't do anything with it now. He can't even have any plans.
Well, he's just got all those containers and all buried. It's like, wow, environmental is really rough.
Environmental is incredibly rough. We can think about other environmental issues that the town has had with other properties and how long it has taken for them to come to any point where they can actually be buildable. He also mentioned.
I'm sorry, Judy, is the remediation any different for what he plans to use it for? Like, if it's going to be another gas station, does he have to remediate it to a different level than if he was going to put?
You have to clean this property up. You have to clean the property up. You have to clean it up. No ifs, no ands, no buts. I am sure he's probably spooked to the point where it's not going to ever be a gas station. So I want to go to 653. I want to make sure we're still talking about that before we get to the other property. On page 29, he describes a little more in depth. The property has 2 tenants. It's also in a flood zone, and the field card shows it as a gas mart. It's not a gas mart. The description says restaurant club. It's a restaurant/club. It's a sandwich shop and a rental car company. It was a former gas station. It's still under remediation for the next 3 to 4 years before they can even go to the next step, which is the final remediation. So, he's brought all of this information. The remediation is going on. The company is drilled and put in monitor wells, and you've seen that on the map. The parking lot needs attending to once the monitoring is completed. And, it's really grossly overassessed, overappraised. He did give the comparables of 1848 Bronson Road, was a former gas station, closed in April for 2020 for 150. 801 Post Road is 200 feet away from the property. It's a gas station that closed on 840 on 10/1/19. Now remember, this is the one where he's looking for 900. 653. Hold on. Let me just make sure.
This is Harold. He's currently renting 2 spots on this particular property. Do we have any financial information that was submitted?
No, I don't have financial information. I have a lot of environmental information, which I have, everything is environmental information. And the amount of cleanup work is just a ridiculously high number. I can't even imagine that these properties are worth anything. I think they're probably negative value. And the fact that he's actually come up, he actually has comparables. He's got a comparable for this for 840. He's still asking for 900, and it still needs to get remediated.
Judy, does it currently have to be remediated with the buildings still on it? And if can the slab be built on without remediation?
You can't do any building on anything that needs remediation.
Okay.
Think about those gas stations, the old gas stations that you drive by, and you see everything is pulled up, and it takes years for all of that to actually get to a point where they can build something else. And remember, this was from the 20s and 30s with coal and oil, and that's all seeped into the ground. I mean, this is, it's an incredibly difficult, they're both incredibly difficult pieces of property. The one that is it's okay, so it's a parking lot, but it still it is in process and needs to be remediated.
I understand. And you're right. I think that the aged gas stations, many of them in recent years had to pull out the old tanks and put fiberglass tanks in because they were not holding up over time. So yeah, the gas stations, even if they go back to a gas station, they still have to pull out the old tanks, put fiberglass tanks in, and so on.
And we see this in residential properties too, you know, where a homeowner has an underground oil tank and then it leaks. And then it's for a small little oil tank for a residential property that has leaked only a little bit,
Mhm.
you could run upwards of $80,000, $90,000. So can you imagine what a gas station with all of this, what could that possibly be?
Yep. Okay.
This is Kathleen. Just a quick question. Like I said, looks like he's renting it to Duchess. Ross, did you have any information on the income on these properties that can help us decide? Because I think we need to look at resale value. We also need to look at the income. And he didn't.
It's a zero resale value. Kathleen?
Yeah, this is
It's zero
correct. But right
resale
now,
value.
it's producing income because he's got enterprise car rental in there. He's got the bagel shop and he's renting the parking lot in the back to Duchess. So even though he may have difficulty selling it or he has to remediate it, it is producing income for him in the state that it's in. If it was vacant and he was trying to sell it, I think that would be different. But he
It's
just
not marketable. It's not marketable.
I understand that. I'm just looking at the income approach because that's how we value parking lots in general is, what value is it adding and is it bringing any income into the property? So, I mean, as soon as we
Nobody's
know
buying.
an idea of what the income is, I'm ready to vote. So
It doesn't matter income. There's no one is buying this. This is fair market value. Nobody is buying something that is environmentally impacted. No one.
Quick question. The price that this property was purchased at, did that include parking lot land or is that a separate purchase?
The parking lot is separate. That's a different field card.
Okay.
A
And so
different-
we believe that that's a separate purchase and the value should be judged separately.
That's
Okay.
right. So we have a 900 for 653 Post Road and 200 for the parking lot, which is 53 Belmont.
right. So sorry, Ross, this is just a question for Ross. Do you have any idea what the income is on these two?
Yeah, we have income and expense statements submitted. I can't share that with you, but we have that submitted. The front property is rented. The parking lot had been used by Duchess, but since last year it's been chained off. So I don't know what the situation with that is.
Oh, this Kathleen, the field card says it's used parking lot for Duchess. That's why I'm asking. So, okay.
All right.
Yeah, it historically had been, but again, at sometime last year that lot got chained off, so it's not being used. I don't know if Duchess is still renting it or not. I don't have that info.
All right. On appeal number 180, let's see, 182. 181, which is the property on Post Road. The motion was to grant to $900,000. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value, please raise your hand. Paulette, your vote? Please repeat, it is broken up, at least on my microphone.
I'm sorry, I'm in favor of granting.
Thank you. The motion carries. The vote is opposed. I'm sorry, one opposed, no abstentions. The motion is carried 4-1-0. The appeal is granted. Okay. Do you want us to look at the other one now?
82.
I think we talked about, this is Kathleen. I think unless everybody needs more information, I think we can vote on the parking lot, right?
I just
Is
want to
that right? Since we talked about them together, and I think, you motion both of them, right? So they're both on, we're taking it together. Okay.
I just want to clear. So the parking lot that we're talking about is not in use now. So there's no income being derived from that parking lot, right?
No, there's not, and that's environmentally impacted as well.
Thank you.
And he showed a comp for 150,000, and he's asking for a $200,000 value.
I have no issue with it. I'm good.
Yeah, right.
How about,
This is Harold. My question is, certainly where the gas station was that occupies the Post Road property is where the tanks are. Do we know if there are any tanks or any, looking at the information on this property, do we know that this land is also impacted as the
Yeah.
Post Road property is?
Yes, if you look on page 22 on appeal number 182, you're going to see that all those monitoring wells are also on Belmont.
Okay,
They don't put them there if they don't need them.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the last phrase.
They don't put them there if they're not needed.
Oh, okay, so they have monitoring sites on the Belmont property as well.
Correct.
Excuse me,
Got it,
Paulette.
thank you.
Those monitoring sites, aren't those for water? They're monitoring because part of it is they're monitoring because it get into the water. They've got oil in the soil and in the water underground.
Yes, they're both difficult properties.
Yeah.
They're both difficult properties.
That can go on for.
Yeah, this is Harold. I think that Paulette's question pertains to the monitoring wells. They're monitoring water to see if there's contaminants in the water. Is that?
It's already there. You can see it on the bottom of that page. It tells you that there's VOCs, which is the oil stuff, in the water.
Volatile organic compounds is what the VOC stands for.
VOC.
Right. Okay. I'll call a vote. Yes, all those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value, please raise your hand. The appeal is granted. The vote is 5-0-0. Good job, Judy.
Thank you, everyone. This one, like I said, out of the 88 appeals that I heard, this one stood out to me. I think we all have a standout. This one, I just felt, I understand the plight. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
want me to go do one, Judy, or how do you want to do it?
Go ahead, do one, give me a second and, yep, go ahead.
You want me to do one? Okay.
Yep.
I didn't hear it. Sorry. Did you say yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay, so let's see. I will do appeal number 157, the property, and Kathy, feel free to give us 7-minute warning so we can stay on pace. This is appeal number 157. The property address is 158 Commerce Drive. The owner of the property is State Street Extension. The town has the property valued at $1,705,700, and the appellant is requesting a value of $1,500,000. The sheet had it as $1,050,000, which is the assessed value, but he's asking for $1,500,000 on that property. So I will make a motion to grant.
Oh, hold on. Kathleen, it says 1,050,000, not 1,500,000.
And that was assessed. So during the hearing, we confirmed that that was the assessed value and not, if you look at the cover sheet, you can see his, the town value is also in assessed dollars.
Okay.
So he's requesting a value of $1,500,000 on the property. So I'll make a motion to grant this appeal and reduce the town's value to the requested amount of $1,500,000.
This is Harold, I'll second.
Let me just call it up here. Okay, so this is Abbey Tent property. It's on Commerce Drive. Abbey Tent leases it from State Street Extension, but the appellant was George Zondi. It was incorrect on the, hard to read on the, actually, you may not have it in the minutes, but anyway, it was George Zondi. And they, like I said, Abbey Tent leases it from him. It's a 1984. They've had it for a long time. It was a junkyard in 1984, a small family business before that. Hasn't had any renovations in years. It's 0.68 acres, valued at 1.4 million, warehouse and a showroom. What was he going to say? He said he was frustrated mostly because he couldn't get any information from Chris Kieran in the informals as to why his value went up on his property. So that was primarily what it was. He wasn't necessarily, he said it is a really nice lot. It doesn't flood. It's right board of the turnpike. It has access on Commerce Drive. And like I said, his appeal was primarily, I can read some of his letter, but, growing up in Fairfield, I realized the potential of relocating our rental store to Fairfield to move my family and business to town. Over the years, I've given a lot back to the town. With a 40% increase in the assessed value of our property, I question my business's ability to maintain a long-term presence in town, and I request a hearing to reassess the property. So that was sort of the extent of his appeal. Again, in his letter is in the backup. He did not provide the financial background or anything. It was just he didn't understand why his value went up by so much, but he did admit that it is a nice, it is a nice flat lot on Commerce Drive. I think we talked a little bit about the car dealerships all coming to that area and the value in the land there as well. And he said that's probably the reason why you went up as much as you did, but he did have an informal hearing. So it's, a lot of that value is in his land because it's a warehouse or whatever. He doesn't have, the building itself is primarily in the land.
This is Harold. I'd like to, if anybody wants to pull up the card, I see it has a condition factor of 0.75, but there's no notes there. And we have seen other properties on Commerce Drive with a condition factor of 1. I'm wondering what reduced his condition to 0.75. Ross, do you have any information on that?
This is Ross. I don't see any notes on that.
Is it possibly just historical?
I'm going to check that.
This is Kathleen. I think, Harold, right? The condition factors are different in commercial real estate than they are in residential real estate. And so often the condition factor is used to, what, Ross, say the value of you said it before. I thought I could repeat it and now I can't, but we talked about it with the daycares, I think.
No, the condition factor is new. It was not on prior. And unfortunately, I don't see any notes on that in the typical place.
Okay. So something was recognized to reduce it by the land value by 25%. So that's significant.
So this is Paulette. So we're saying then that this land was actually valued 25% higher than what it is now?
No, this is Kathleen. The land value went way up. It was assessed at 561 in the previous session, and now it's almost double. The land is now at $1.010 million.
Okay, but there's a condition factor on it.
Yeah. So again, I think we saw with the daycares that the condition factor is sort of like, it has to do with the type of business you have and where it's located and what the value is of that. So if you have a storefront, for example, you may have a higher condition factor on your land because if you're like a Verizon store or a restaurant, you want to have, you want drive-by traffic. So that could be why he, and then I think they use the condition factor to bring the land up and down based on the type of business that's there. I think that's correct, but it's a little different than residential.
So this is Harold. This is marked as a warehouse, but is also a showroom. It's open to the public. Is that true?
That's what he said to me. The front part of it is a showroom, and the majority of it is, he's got an office in the front, store display area, 1,800 square feet, and an office. And then, and then he's got the warehouse.
This is Catherine. His showroom is nothing fancy. I mean, it's talking about, hey, this is the high tops, because you're going to rent your party supplies there. So,
Right.
I mean, you feel fine, but I kind of, it's been a couple of years, but I think it has like AstroTurf for the floor, like, to simulate an outdoor party. It's nothing fancy. It's well done. It's what it is, but there would be no environmental hazard, and he's not renting this. He's using it for his business. So the showroom is a nice step up from a warehouse, but it is not like the tile warehouses where you go in that have, hundreds of thousands of dollars of supplies and fixtures and beautiful. It's just, this is the table we have. These are the plastic glasses we have. These are glass. So showroom, that's what it is. And I think that's fair in his valuation of his improvements. I'd also like to point out, it appears that he is willing to, his value is
For 7 minutes.
his appraisal last year was almost 1.2 million. He's willing to go to 1.5 million instead of 1.7 million. I mean, he's not even asking to go back to what it was last year. And I'm sure he didn't plead one COVID issue. And I'm sure nobody was renting from him. He probably had no income. And I'll vouch, he has hired many a teenager during those summer months, high school. I mean, he has contributed in other ways to the town.
Mhm.
I could probably name a dozen kids who were employed over there over the last
Yes.
10 years
Right.
too.
Yeah, I believe he may rent the Pequot when they have the book sale. A lot of restaurants have rented from him during COVID to provide outdoor space and coverage for the restaurant seating. I think that he is being reasonable not to ask for last year's values. So I think that he is being reasonable.
I think, looking at it, I think the reason it's that way is because of those car dealerships. I'm sure Commerce Drive, the value's increasing, and he's owned it for a long time. So that's probably why he's up so much, is because he's got a nice big lot with a great amount of street frontage on Commerce Drive in an area that is, constantly developing. So at some point, does it make sense for him to keep his warehouse on that property and store all of his tents there? Probably not, because it doesn't need that. He doesn't need that. It used to be in a more industrial area. Now it's becoming much more commercialized. And so, his storefront probably doesn't need to be on Commerce Drive either. I'm not saying he's not being reasonable. I'm just pointing out why he went up so much and why, he's probably willing to pay that, because he knows he said, I've got a nice big flat lot. It doesn't float. So, yeah, but I think he's being reasonable.
Okay,
I'm ready to vote.
I'd like to call a vote too. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value, please raise your hand. It's unanimous, 5 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. Thank you, Kathleen.
I'd like to make just a comment that I heard from one of the appraisers in town for another appeal, and I'll just state it now. I'm glad the vote went the way it did, but he made the comment that Fairfield's risk factors are actually a little less than the surrounding areas. So, you're willing to accept less of a return on your property because of the stability of the small business owners. He was specifically discussing, restaurants at that time, but he said that's the issue with some of the surrounding towns, Westport, that went to all big box stores. So I would just like to say that, and I will be, that will be in the back of my mind as I vote on businesses who I want to keep in town for, and that provide other services to town, and that their valuation could probably be a little less as people invest in them. They're willing to take different risks.
As someone who's married to a small business owner, who has been a small business owner, I also recognize the value of supporting local businesses and keeping them going in our community. Yes.
I agree.
Kathleen, do you have more
Can
to
we do
do?
another one? So I'll do another one that's kind of across the street. Let me just mark off that one. This is appeal number 536. Harold, you actually heard this one with me. The property address is 569 Commerce Drive. The owner of the property is CLS Investments, Inc. The town has the property valued at $1,411,100, and he is requesting a reduction. And again, this is one where he expressed it in assessed at $750, but the appraised value is $1,071,400. So I make a motion to grant this appeal and reduce the town's appraised value to $1,071,400.
I'll second it, Judy.
Okay. So this property, if you want, Ross, if you want to call it up on the GIS, that'd be helpful. It is on Commerce Drive, but it's kitty corner to Sweet Basil, sort of. It's the he has a flag lot. He's recessed behind another business that's in the front. It's the limousine business that's in there. I'm sorry, the appellant, this was a phone interview. Harold and I did it together. The owner of the property is Jeff Serlin. He rents space to Chauffeur Limousine Services, Inc., of which he is the owner. He had 4 reasons for why he was appealing his property. He did not have an informal hearing. He said his property is set off from the road with no frontage on Commerce Drive. He says he has a right-of-way on his property. I think for Metro North because he backs up to the tracks, so he's inconvenienced having to let Metro North in when they want to, and he wasn't sure whether his right-of-way was just for Metro North or for somebody else. He talked about the condition of his building. It's in bad shape. Roof leaks, driveway has a lot of holes in it. He said some of the plumbing on his property goes into a leaching field and not into the sewer. So he had to turn the plumbing off in the bathroom. He did purchase it in 2011 for $1.5 million in an overpaying situation. And his 4th reason was that the limousine industry is significantly affected by COVID. He noted that his business is off 95%. He used to do 130 to 150 trips a day. Now he does about 30 trips a week. So he does have a large warehouse on the property. And he's parking, he charges his business, he said $11,000 a month in rent. It's not market price, but it covers the mortgage. So that's how he is, how he's doing the business. Even he's the owner of the property, and then the limousine business is his, he leases it to him, or he rents it to himself for $11,000 a month. That's what he puts in his things. There is a 2-story brick building attached to the warehouse. The bottom floor is used as an office. The 2nd floor is not being used. And I asked him if he used the warehouse to park his cars, and he said no. The warehouse is empty. So again, that was sort of the only financial data he provided me was that he rents it to himself for $11,000 a month to cover the mortgage. It's not market price, he said. A 9,000 square foot warehouse, but there's nothing in it. So
This is Harold. I don't know if this is something, but is this coded properly as a warehouse? Since it's used as a car car business of some sort? I'm just asking if the designation as a warehouse is correct, or is there some other coding that should be applied? Ross, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I just lost the card. I got to get back there.
Okay. I think you were trying to bring up an aerial of the property.
In the meantime, was it ever used as a warehouse? I mean, he doesn't even need a building on the property really, right? He just needs a trailer. But he has this warehouse. I'm just like, what was his intention with the warehouse?
We really didn't talk about that. I just sort of asked him questions of, he said why he thought he should be lower. But we didn't talk about, I have something about used car dealership, but in my notes, CLS used car dealership, but I don't know.
I think it was a used car dealership previously. I'm not sure, but maybe the warehouse
CLS.
in lieu of
CLS is the
cars
chauffeur
there.
service.
Instead of parking cars there, maybe he's using it to clean the limousines in between rentals, do that inside as opposed to outside.
Just it's 13,000 square feet. I mean, that's
Good sized building.
Right.
Yeah.
This is Kathleen. Actually, CLS stands for Chauffeur Limousine Service, Inc. That's what it means. So he must have purchased it as a used car dealership. And then he bought the building and rents space to that business. And he owns the business. But he did not talk about selling used cars.
Has he tried to
Right.
rent it or use it? I mean, it's a warehouse, so I mean, it's not office space. It's not, I get that, but unfortunately, like a lot of his value is in that building.
Mhm.
The land's, 8.25, building and improvements, $600,000. I mean, to have bought it with the intention of using it for an office.
I'm just a little confused here. Wait a minute. Because I'm on the GIS and I'm looking at 569 Commerce Drive. Is that the one we're looking at?
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm seeing is on Black Rock Turnpike, I'm not seeing frontage on Commerce Drive. Why is that?
This
I
is
don't get it.
Kathleen, right. It's a flagship lot. So he has a right of way. If you go up over the bridge to BJ's and, Bigelow Teas on your right, it's on the left-hand side. There's another, that's why I asked Ross to bring it up. There's another business in front of him and he's got the driveway into the back and his warehouse and everything is in the back. So it backs up to the Metro North tracks there where the bridge goes over. So that's where his lot is. So that's right. He does not have any frontage. And it says it on the field card, the flag lot, no visibility. Thank you, Kathy.
I'm not seeing this as a flag lot. I see it, the flag lot is actually at 549 Commerce. That's a flag lot. This one is not. It doesn't have, if they have a driveway, must have an easement or right away from 549 Commerce to get to this. Is that it?
Sorry, they just started mowing my lawn, so I'm going to keep myself on mute. That's my understanding is he's got a right of way over that, over the property in front of him to get to his lot in the back. And then Metro North also has a right of way in there to get to the tracks if they need to do work on the tracks. So he wasn't exactly sure who else had, right of ways over his property. So he probably has take it back, probably has an easement over the one in front and he's got a right of way to use it, and then Metro North has a right of way over his property to get to the tracks.
So he has two, this is Harold, he has two entrances to his property, one on Black Rock and one on Commerce. Is that correct?
I don't know that you can you get to it from Black Rock Turnpike? That's why I should call up the GIS. I did not. I just know it's in the back there.
Yeah, this is Ross. I got to restart my machine, and then I can bring it up. I'm having a little connection issue. So it'll be about 2 minutes, and I'll have it up.
Okay, so I mean, basically, I had the question: is it coded properly as a warehouse, or is there another coding that should be considered? And the other question was to look at the GIS to see what the property layout looks like.
Yeah, I'll
Judy,
have
you're-
that up in a second.
Yeah.
Just
I put
restarted.
it up on my computer and that's why I'm looking at it. That's why I'm just trying to figure out what this lot is.
Right.
And I think it's gonna be definitely helpful for everybody.
Yeah, this is Kathleen. In the backup too, he has several maps about the lot. If you look in the backup, there's, it doesn't give the bigger picture, but it does show some information on it.
I think once you see the GIS, it's gonna help you to decide. You really need that.
This is a 2-cup coffee morning for me, so I'm gonna go brew my coffee, but I'm listening and I will come right back. Don't be talking.
Okay.
Right, I'm gonna try to speak over the mower, but it looks like, I believe his access is from 250 Black Rock Turnpike Inc. It's that corner lot. Even though the address is Black Rock Turnpike, I think 250, if you're on the GIS, it's the lot to the northwest or upper left corner of it. And that's where the driveway is, and it comes in from Commerce Drive. And that's how he accesses his property in the back. So he technically faces Commerce Drive. 250 Black Rock Turnpike, if you look at the field card for that, you can see his building behind it. And so
All right, you should be able to see it now.
yeah, this is Kathleen again. This is similar to, Mr. Zondi, where they have a large warehouse in an area that has, Commerce Drive that is developing. And so that's probably why he is up as well.
Actually, his land is significantly less than Abby's tents, and my point of interest is he purchased this land and half, roughly half, whatever, is given it over to the warehouse. But he's not using the warehouse, but he did purchase the warehouse. And so that's my hang up. I mean, he's really asking us to ignore the warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
This is how, there's a warehouse and then there's a 2-story attached building to it.
Yeah, he's got an office on the ground floor or something, and he's not using the second floor. And there are issues with the bathroom because it was going into a leaching field and not into the sewer system. So I seem to think that he's maybe not able to use the bathroom. But for comparison, Mr. Zondi's warehouse was 30,000 square feet, the Abbey tent. This warehouse is 45,000 square feet, so it's 50% bigger. So he does have a large, large building in there, and then he also has the office space. So I don't know if everybody's ready to vote or.
So just for clarification, the amounts that are on the field card, are those representing his ask and the town value, or are they the assessed values?
This is you're talking about on his appeal? Yeah, the town has him assessed at 1.4 million, and he's requesting to go to 1,071,000. So he's asking for a $375,000 reduction.
And Kathleen, you just spoke about the appraised numbers, not the assessed numbers. The town has him appraised for 1.4 million.
That's correct. So similar, a little less than Mr. Zondi's property, right?
Okay. So we've done the conversions from assessed to appraised.
That's correct. His requested value is $1,071,000, not the $750 that you see on his application because he
Right.
filled in the assessed
Un-
value.
Understood. So regarding, any further discussion, or do we need more time?
Yeah, I just have a question.
Yes,
What
Judy.
did we do with Mr. Zandi's property? What was the end result there?
We approved to
We
1 million,
approved at what number?
1,000,005.
Okay.
I'm having a little trouble with, I'm having a little trouble with how much the property goes up since last year. I realize it's commercial, and I realize there's income, and I realize he has a building, but when I look at the numbers, it's like, seriously? That property is worth that much money and
He didn't go up that much. He only went up 30,000 or something assessed, right? He went from 951 assessed to 987. So he went up $36,000. Mr. Zondi's went up, but not, this gentleman's went up just a little bit.
that's why not.
His assessed land went from roughly, I'm rounding big time, 550,000 to 575.
And I'm looking at the wrong thing. Okay,
On the
Yeah.
subject.
Ready to vote.
I'm going to call a vote unless we need more time.
no, let's rush. I'm ready.
Okay. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Abstentions? The vote is 0-3-2. The two abstentions are Paulette and Judy. The motion fails. The appeal is not granted. Thank you. Catherine, are we back to you or Judy? Judy?
I have two that should go together again.
That would be great.
Okay, all right, this is appeals number 216 and 217. So let's go to 216.
So this is Kathleen. Judy, do you want to discuss them together? And if so, I'll make a motion to discuss them together, or do you want to take them separately?
Yeah, I'd like to discuss them together. So
Okay.
I'll need both information for both of them. Do you need to make a motion? for me
Well,
to-
to discuss it, normally we discuss them individually, so that's what we've been doing. So I'll make a motion to discuss these two appeals together, number 216 and 217. Anybody want to second it and vote on it?
This is Harold. I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor of discussing them together? That's what we're voting on. Okay, great.
Is it?
Paulette?
Yeah, whatever.
It's unanimous. 5 in favor of discussing these two appeals, 216, 217 together.
Yeah, so Judy, now you can read both. I would just read both of them into the record.
Okay, appeal number 216, this is Mercurio Brothers Incorporated, property location 1520 Post Road. And the town's value at $2,331,100. And I'm going to go to 217. The reason I'm at 17, property owner's name, Mercurio Brothers Incorporated, property location is at 1508 Post Road. These are commercial stores and office. And the town's value is $4,139,200. The appellant requests that both together be valued at $5 million. It did not give a number for each appeal. He said between the two of them at $5 million.
This is Harold. So what does the town have for them together?
4-1, and somebody can add it up. 4,139,200 and 2,3311.
6,470,300.
Thank you, Catherine.
I can work a 10 key.
Okay, so let's go to, well, first of all, I just need to say that I'm gonna have to recuse myself on these because, it's the mere appearance. If somebody could actually think that there's a problem or improper vote, then even if there isn't, then it's the mere appearance is just as bad as the act itself. Coldwell Banker does rent from Mercurio Brothers, and I'm affiliated with Coldwell Banker, so I'm going to recuse myself from the vote.
This is Harold. Thank you, Judy.
Thanks, Judy.
Oh, Judy, that's great. Not everybody should do that, I think.
Yeah, well, I have to. It's just a mere appearance. Even if there's nothing going on, the mere appearance.
No, respect for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. So this is where the Colony Grill, there's two separate parcels here. They can't be sold separately. They're taxed separately. You know, I have to say it. I don't have, I wish I had a number for each parcel. You know, because they're basically leaving it up to us to figure out what's what. So I just have to say it, all right? So we have 5 million. How are we supposed to allot that? It's just something I need to say. So.
Excuse me, this is Kathy. Is there a motion to grant this appeal?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I make a motion to grant the appeal at $5 million for both parcels for both appeals between 216 and 217.
This is Harold. I'll second.
Thank you.
Harold, I have to tell you something. I didn't realize it until I started to look at the appraisal and looked who it was done for. I'll have to recuse myself because Tim Ward, who is, I guess, now in charge of this property for his mother's estate, I have a personal relationship with him, so I don't think I should be voting.
Thank you, Paulette. Thank you. This is a complicated one because this is Harold speaking. The appellant wants us to combine it, but it's difficult for us to break them apart and figure out all of the financial information that has been included in the documents. So I'm ready to call a vote. I have difficulty coming up with a decision on this for or against, but I think that the appellant is best served in presenting their case to people who are knowledgeable in assessing these values. Any thoughts?
This is Kathleen. I agree with you, Harold. And I do see the data valuation in the paperwork is 2017 on the appraisal as well. So it's an older appraisal. So I don't feel that we should, spend any time on it.
Okay.
Or any more time on it. We spent.
Then I'd like to call a vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested combined value of $5 million, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. 3 opposed, abstentions. I believe we have 2. Yes.
Yes.
Paulette and
Yep.
Judy abstaining. The vote is 0-3-2. The appeal is not granted. It is denied. Thank you. Thank you, Judy.
You're welcome.
Kathleen? You're muted.
Catherine, do you want to throw in your land now, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, no, I'll go to it. I wanted to make sure everybody got moving along on their commercials. So,
Give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
it will appeal 163.
We can look at 163 until Judy returns. This is Harold speaking.
Here she comes. Hey, Judy. Thought you come back with your little
Hey.
apple juice.
Judy's back.
Can you pull up Appeal 163, Judy, please?
This is residential?
It is vacant land. So
That's on the
163
residential tab.
I see it.
Thanks, Ross, for pulling it up. Property owner's name is Muddy Puddle. Chris Taylor, it was a phone interview for the property being located at 373 Cross Highway. I would like to make a motion to reduce the town's value from $217,300 to the appellant's value of $35,000. Do I have a second? Thanks, Kathleen. And Judy, as you had said before, the appeals that kind of stick out to you, this one stuck out to me. So consistently, I've tried to look at how people, especially when it veers off into this commercial, it's not your home, what are people doing to improve the lot or change it or use the property? And so this gentleman has purchased 3 lots right in that area. 2 were on appeal, 1 we denied. And this is the lot. And then I wanted to go back once the other one was denied in a tie vote. I wanted to go back and review this one and take a look at it. And thanks to the assessor for bringing me through the GSI and so forth. He, answered all the questions. And so the gentleman is not trying to get farm status at this time. He bought it last year for and it was kind of like a package deal. He would bought 1 lot for like 10, a little less than 10,000. This one he had bought, it's on the field card for about the requested value of the 35,000. And he's trying to start a farm, but it will be so giving you the background for it, it will be like, he thinks it's going to be a fish farm, tilapia farm, and maybe some pasture in there for buffalo. So he can get involved with some type of mix that's called beefalo. So, once he started talking about his intention for the property, he had definitely done his research. He says he has partners, he was excited, and he had this, unusual information bank of things. This was not somebody who said, I think I'm going to put up a farm stand or, do this. This is what he is. So, and over the last few years, well, not even a few years, since he's bought this, you can see he's been working on this property. You see there's stuff going on. Now you say, well, why did he get the lot so cheap? It had been owned by a family for decades and decades and is basically swampland. So they very wet. It's got, look at the irregular shape. It's actually in a bunch of the minutes for a town. The land acquisition committee talked about, an appraisal that they had for it and that they were thinking of perhaps buying it because it's in proximity to Dwight Elementary School. It's in proximity on the other side. Also, this is the part on Cross Highway that faces the Merritt. It's between Reading Road and what is that, Congress Street. So, and so he's gone in there, the owner now, and he's working on it. And the land acquisition department was contacted. They didn't have any record. They weren't sure really what had happened, with their thought process. And now it's actually in the, I don't know the right name, but it's somebody's reported him for blight. So he's again working with the town, trying to say, no, don't blight me yet. I mean, so he's kind of in this in-between status of what's happening, but he's trying to do things on the property with his end goal being this kind of pasteurized bison, perhaps using the wetlands for a farm. And he's working on that end. So I really don't think he's asking for what he paid for this property. And looking at it, it's really wet. He's got this little bridge so he can go in there and start clearing the land. It's not a buildable lot. There's correspondence and notes in the file that says it's been questioned before. If somebody could have built on that, they would have built on it in the last 40, 50 years. So it's not, it's less than the acreage required, and it's really wet.
This is
So
Harold.
I would, yes,
So am I correct in assuming that that white strip that we saw is not a driveway from a previous dwelling? It is something that we constructed perhaps to just gain access to the land?
yes,
that-
and previous GSI pictures show that entirely like wooded, quote, you know, it was just all natural state mass just a few years ago. And
Okay.
since he bought the property, you know, my impression is that's just kind of like a bunch of wood planks so he can get in there and start clearing the property.
Right, okay. Well, it's a good hangout for the deer.
Well, so I really don't know what else to say, but there's just
Your
no way.
input is invalid.
$17,000. So, and we did ask because there was some mention of an appraisal, and again, thanks to the assessor's office and Catherine Napolitano to follow up with the appellant. And he actually said, no, I don't have an appraisal. I have what I paid for it. And, you know, I really appreciate your diligence and working with it. And look, if he gets slapped with a blighted, he's going to be paying fines for the, so the town's going to get its money one way or another. But to get it in both, to me, is really difficult. He could have just left it natural, but he's trying to do the farm thing. And so he's not, eventually he'll apply for probably some type of farm classification, but it's too premature to do that. Right now, he's asking to reduce the value to what he has, to what he paid for it. So I would like to recommend granting is there anything else? But I don't.
Oh, for 7 minutes. The only thing I noticed is the sale price on this property is 0. On the other muddy puddle that we already decided on, the sale price was $32,000. So was this a family transfer, this particular parcel, or did he pay 32 for both, or he didn't say?
He said it was, he's not a direct relative, but I did feel he said it was sort of an inheritance and how he's putting the parcels together. So he decided to go for the amount that he paid for the other parcel.
Got it. Okay.
So, Harold, the requested opinion of value by the appellant is $35,000, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. If anyone,
The third lot that he had, number 377 Cross Highway, the town has valued at $10,000, and he told me he purchased that for $9,500.
okay. Does anyone need more time? Any further discussion? All those in,
Oh, I'm sorry. Are we
I'm gonna
going
call the vote.
This is after
Unless-
35? Okay.
I guess I'm not really here. Okay, no problem. Let's just vote.
I'm sorry, did you have your hand up, Paulette?
I have nothing more to say. Let's just do it.
Okay, all those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value, please raise your hand. It's unanimous. 5 in favor. No opposed, no abstention. The appeal is granted.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I have a question. Do you need me to vote for a quorum? Because since you're not listening to a word I say and you don't recognize me when I want to talk, I don't really need to be here and waste my time. So if you don't need me for a
Sorry,
quorum,
Paulette, I'm looking at my papers. I didn't look up to see
no,
your
you,
hand.
Catherine. No, not you. You're not the issue, really.
Well, Paulette, excuse me, I'm sorry, I apologize. I was looking at the map. If you would have called out your name, I would have recognized you. I would have heard the announcement, even though I didn't see your hand up. And anybody could have mentioned that Paulette has her hand up if they had seen it. So it was, if you would like to say something now, I'd certainly I would welcome your comments.
No, thanks. I'm done.
Hey, Paulette, I didn't see your hand up or else I would have said something.
You talk. We vote.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
It's okay. It's not, it's not that. It's just the third time. So I was getting a little testy about it. So like I said, if you have 6 people, I don't know how many people were there. I'll just go do my other stuff that I have plenty of time.
No.
Things I can.
You're
We
in
need-
need, you're in
no.
need. We have
We
only
need you to
5.
finish, Paulette.
Fine, I'll finish.
Well, I've got 3 more, I have 3 more appeals.
Okay.
Okay,
No problem.
How many you got, Kathleen?
I have 4.
Finish.
And 1 was a no-show, so I technically have 3.
But
So
we have 7. Come on, we can get, we've got an hour and a
we
half.
can, and you can probably get your real estate in too if we stay focused.
if
So,
we keep,
okay.
let's
Let's
keep
somebody-
focused.
Let's have somebody pick an appeal to hear.
Yep,
All right.
I'll go if you want. I'll do appeal number 322, 2452 Black Rock Turnpike. Let me just, what did I say? 332.
Appeal number 332. Thank you.
What did I do with it? I think the lawn guys have stopped, so let's hope so. So I'll make a motion to grant, this is appeal number 332, property address 2452 Black Rock Turnpike. The owner of the property is JCR Fairfield LLC. I have 88% and another one. The town's value is at $6,016,300, and he is requesting, they're requesting a reduction, and this is a revised value to $5,653,500. So that's $5,653,500. And I will make a motion to grant this appeal and reduce the request, the town's value to $5,653,500.
This is Harold. I'll second.
Okay, so this is White Birch Plaza. It is on Black Rock Turnpike. As you're heading north, it's the plaza that includes Lilac House, Kindred Spirits, the Donut Inn. The appellant was Roland Zeleny. He's been the owner of the property since 1985. He's never appealed before the board. This is his first time. Said he always paid his taxes on time. He does have quite a bit of information in the online file if somebody wants to take. I think the net income is on page 6. And he did a lot of work to prepare for this. He is 95%, he was 95% occupied in June. However, he's got 26,000 square feet, 10 retail businesses with 10 offices above. He did offer quite a few of his tenants 50% off the rent because of things that were going on. He has a hair salon, cleaners and things, so those are still difficult businesses. He does have a lot of his tenants are coming up for, what else do I have on here? So at any rate, he's got his rent roll in there as well. One of the main things we talked about was that the Kindred Spirits will be leaving his plaza. They have been a very high rent payer, $95,000 a year in revenue, and they are moving to the old Pier 1 building. So he will be losing his anchor tenant who also rents part of the basement. And so he is, very concerned that he will not be able to fill that particular slot with someone who will pay the price that has been doing, and also that the liquor store brings in quite a bit of traffic for that shopping plaza. So if somebody wants to, he did both a sales approach and an income approach on his property. He provided quite a bit of, background information on all of that. His sales comparisons are on page 14. It has 4 comps. And if anybody wants to, he has a cap rate of 6. I believe a cap rate on page 6 of 7.25 and 7.5, and he used 7. He thinks that's very reasonable, and he's just, like I said, provided a lot of information about his tenants and when their leases are expiring and what they're paying per square foot. So
Okay, any comments or questions?
And page 12 has, who's renewing and all of that, who's struggling with their rent. And he just believes, like I said, the value of his buildings, he's asking to go down by about 400,000 on the $6 million building. And he's owned it since, 1985.
Any questions or comments? Anybody need more time? All those, I'm going to call a vote then. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value, please raise your hand. Opposed? Abstentions? I have one abstention. The motion is carried. The vote is 4 in favor, no opposed, 1 abstention, Paulette abstaining. Thank you. The appeal is granted.
Getting my coffee. Keep rolling, keep rolling. I'll be back.
Kathleen, you have another?
Sure, so this will be a quick one. Why don't we do appeal number 301? The property address is 1795 Post Road. And this is, the owner of the property is Sally and We LLC. The town has the property valued at $1,211,600 and requesting a value to go to $900,000. And this particular appellant had a hearing scheduled initially, and they wanted more time. And then so we gave them a second hearing on Monday, March 29th, but then the attorney was sick and wasn't able to make it to the hearing. So this is they did not show, and we gave them, 2 opportunities to come. So this is Shoe Restaurant on the Post Road. So it seems like we did try, and then they did not contact us back after that to schedule a third time. So
This is on the corner of Thorpe.
that's correct. And they didn't provide any documentation or anything else to go with it. It's not like we had, backup or an appraisal or anything to go with it, to encourage them to come back a third time and try to reschedule them, for the third time.
So this is Harold. I guess we still need a motion, and then we can.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I make a motion to grant this appeal and reduce the requested value to reduce the town's value to $900,000.
This is Harold. I'll second. Any further comment or discussion? So this is Harold. Given that this was a no-show on the third attempt, no additional information is to be found in the file. I don't see how we can grant the request. So I'll call a vote unless anyone wishes to make more comment or we need more time. No? I'll call a vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Catherine, are you voting?
Sorry, yep, I was.
The vote is unanimous to deny. The vote is 0-5-0. It is unanimous. The appeal is not granted. Thank you, Kathleen. Who has one ready to go? Judy.
I have a couple ready to go, and they're all, these should be pretty, these are all straightforward. All right, so let's go to number 197. The property owner's name is John George. The property location is at 1610 Post Road. And the town's value is listed at $1,934,400. The appellant's opinion of fair market value is $1,500,000. And I make a motion to approve the appellant's opinion of market value, which is $1,500,000. Is there a second?
This is Harold. I'll second.
Thank you very much. The appellant came in himself. He's had a problem renting with this. He's kind of dressed up the building. He's fixed it up to rent it. It's been empty for over a year. He's actually been working with a bank because he cannot attract tenants. There's a lot of inexpensive leases in town, and he's having trouble. He's having trouble with his mortgage. Not that kind of trouble, but he's trying to work something out with the bank. He did supply an appraisal by Baldwin Pearson, who are they are commercial brokers, appraisals. These are I trust this in its entirety, and that should be included in the file. I have actually printed mine out to review it. The appraisal came in at 1,600,000. And I'm looking at this appraisal and I see his opinion is 1,500,000. I would say we should just go to the appraisal, which he submitted at 1.6. There's a parking issue at the building. I think the mortgage is tough there. The mortgage is tough, and he's still trying to get tenants there. So, and as we have an appraisal, I'd be right ready to go for that. He bought this at an auction, and he overpaid for it. He unfortunately overpaid for it, and a lot of people have done that. We've seen that come across before.
This is Harold. Do we know what percentage is rented currently?
Actually,
I know that Wild Rice is there, for example, and Chow Bella. There was a framing store or something like that in another space that may not be there anymore. I'm not sure.
Right. He says he's had a problem renting it, so I guess there's some portion of it is not rented. I do not have that information, but
Right.
I do, like I said, I do have that appraisal. And if you look on page 26 of his appeal, you'll see that it's the appraisal is 1,600,000. That MAI that's after that George Shawa's name, and means that he has spent a ridiculous amount of hours with education, and you have to go throughout the country in order to get that designation. When you get an MAI appraisal, it's gold. There's nothing better than that when it comes to a commercial. And a lot of people don't spend the money for that, but he did. And although the appraisal is actually dated, I think it's actually dated. Let's look at it. Actually, I'm scrolling and I have it printed.
I think it's April of 21.
That's what I thought. No, March 2nd, 2021, which would actually make it probably worth more. So the 1.6, I'm really okay with the 1.6 on this appraisal, and I would grant parts of the 1.6. Yes, Kathleen.
And this is Kathleen. So we've had a couple of his before that we haven't always granted the George Shawa ones, only because I think we did a garage earlier in the week, an automobile, automotive, and they were lower. And it was because I think some board members felt that they weren't, getting the best rent that they could for the space that they had. So we left them at $1 million or 900 rather than bringing them down to 6. And in this case, we are looking at what he's going to look like for 5 years. He is a storefront on the post road. The building looks like it's in pretty good shape. And I don't know if he's charging too much rent for it, that he continues to have the vacancies. I know Wild Rice has been there for quite a while. There was a dress shop and some other things in there. So I question, the business sense of how he is or isn't, trying to rent the building. Is he renting it is he charging too much and therefore he can't find tenants for the space?
Why are we questioning like the god of appraisers?
Well, this is
I
Harold.
don't get that. I don't get it.
Yeah,
This is,
that's what I said.
This
We
is
did it
Harold.
before. Yeah.
this is Harold. Appraisals that we've seen previously, like the Mercurio building, there was financial in there that was presented. Here, unlike the rental information and financial income and expense information, we have comps. So do we believe that the comps that are listed are suitable for this property, or wouldn't a Mercurio's or the, which is also on the Post Road, and some of the others that we've heard, wouldn't those best be served by looking at the financial information as opposed to comps stretching from Kings Highway in Fairfield to Boston Post Road in Darien to Black Rock Turnpike, which are not in the same commercial area per se?
I'm trying to wrap my head around this. We have get an appraisal. Was that in 7 minutes?
Okay, I'm just asking how this evaluation was done, and is it comparable to some of the others, such as the Black Rock Turnpike that we just read previously?
Well, this is from an appraiser. If you go to page 36,
Yes,
why don't you take a look at the appraiser's certifications?
I understand that.
He knows exactly what he knows exactly what he's doing. That's the number that he came up with. The appellant has said that he's had a problem renting, and maybe that's not necessarily because he charges too much. And we should. Yeah, Paulette is saying something. Yes, Paulette.
Yes,
Let's
Paulette.
finish.
No, go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to say that, I have to agree about the appraisal. I'm not going to go into the whole story. We've talked about it a million times. Like she said, these are the gods of appraisers. And if you remember, if you think back, first of all, they are not required to give us those financials, and to hold them to that standard is not appropriate. Those are private papers. We don't belong having access to those. And that makes them part of the public record. That's the problem. Not so much us, but the public record. If people want to do it, they can, but it's not a requirement. Secondly, we did decide on a property not that long ago on the corner of Main Street and Harbor Road in Southport, where we did not have financial information, but we had comp. So we need to start, if we've done that for one, then we should look at it for this one, unless there's a blatant reason why we shouldn't believe it, and I don't see that. I don't see a problem with this.
This is Harold. Just to clarify my question, I'm not discounting the appraisal. I'm just trying to understand what the basis of the appraisal is, because it looks like it's based on comps and not income and expenses like we've seen other commercial properties. And unlike the Main Street in Southport, this is a total commercial property. It's not a condominium or a mixed-use building.
This is Paulette, but in the Southport one, we were only looking at the commercial part of the building. We were not, the appeal did not have anything to do with the fact that it was a condo or the fact that it was residential units upstairs. We were looking solely at the commercial portion of the building. And we had a comp for it. We had a similar comp. We were able to look at that and feel comfortable with it. So unless these comps are awful, which I don't think they are, then, and you don't have to give credence to every comp. If you don't like the fact that he used some in another town, don't use those. Just the ones in Fairfield.
Okay, well, we can choose to look at the comps that we feel are suitable. Again, I'm troubled with the fact that this appraisal is not using the same definitions as we've seen previously. Okay, any further comment or questions from anyone?
I would like to, I'd like to amend this, or Kathleen, what's the wording to 1,000,006?
We'd like to make a motion to amend the value to 1,600,000.
That's right. I'd like to make more. Thank you. Kathleen just did that. Harold, you're seconding?
I'm seconding it, yes.
Thank you. And that's the appraised value from the MAI appraisal.
This is Harold. I'll call the vote. All those in favor of granting to the amended value of $1,600,000, please raise your hand. Opposed? One opposed. The motion is carried to grant the amended value to $1,600,000. The vote is 4 in favor, 1 opposed. Catherine, I would like to give you an opportunity if you have any comments.
No, that was on the amendment, Harold. We did not vote on the main motion yet. That was to change it from $1.5 million to $1.6 million.
Right. So
We need to
Judy,
go
do
back.
you want to make a motion on the revised value?
She already did. It's just if there's
Okay.
any further discussion. Yeah, I just want to say he paid 2.2 million for the building, so.
And he overpaid. Okay. He said he stated he overpaid at
Yeah.
auction. Okay.
Catherine, I would just ask, with your experience and accounting experience and previous real estate experience, if you think that the methodology that is used in this
I mean, it's
appraisal is appropriate, do you wish to comment one way or the other? I'm not going to put you on the spot.
well, you have put me on the spot.
You
you know,
could say,
No,
No
I
comment.
love, it's a downtown one. I mean, I'm looking at the appraisal. It would be nice if there was some income, yes, but that's not the only way that we're required to value something. He's asking for about what he was paying last year. I'm looking at the current picture in the appraisal, which shows really the building's empty of tenants. I know that is post-COVID, but I also am, so wild rice, that's great. I'm pretty sure that will come back. But the other two, it's pretty small properties. These are tiny little, boutique stores. And one thing I will share from another one, we reviewed the building opposite the gazebo, and he has a bunch of like these little boutique stores. They don't rent for a lot. He did not share his income rule either. But there's a lot of them. So they're not going to rent a lot. These are not, the big spaces. You're after a little target market. And look, I've lived in here for how many years? I didn't even know we had that parking lot behind there. I would so be parking in that parking lot. So, that's not a benefit that I was even aware of to have there. So I don't think he's, lowballing is, I guess, my God, but I don't know that I'm allowed to say that.
this is
gonna
helpful. Thank you.
Call the vote.
That was helpful for me. That was helpful. So I will call a vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the amended value, granted part to $1,600,000, please raise your hand. Paulette, your vote?
Yep.
Now I see it. Okay. 4 in favor, opposed? 1 opposed. Kathleen opposed. The appeal is granted to,
In part.
in part to $1,600,000. Thank you, Judy.
Thank you. I have two more. The second one is super quick, I have one more from Mr. Carriage, so I'd like to present that. Is that okay?
Yes, please. More the merrier.
Thank you very much.
Could I queue up? I just have a point of order, like a question about something else. So I'm just getting on the schedule there. If I could just ask the question after your two appraisals that have
Yes.
nothing to do. Right? So, hold
We'll
it out.
keep that in our mind.
You're next. After I'm almost done. This
Well,
is
we
appeal number 196. Property owner's name is John Carriage. Property it's located at 1460 Post Road. Town's value is $1,282,300. The appellant's opinion of fair market value is $800,000. And I make a motion that we grant the appellant's number of $800,000. Is there a second?
This is
Catherine,
Paula.
second.
Thank you, Paulette.
You're welcome, anytime.
Okay, let me get to my notes. I also have an appraisal on this as well. It's, he hasn't been able to rent this. It's in its original form. It's unrented for 5 years. Be Good was health food. They had to put money into that. They've got to put money in to attract better tenants. The shape of the building is odd. Ross, can you bring that up for everybody?
Weird thing in the
They
back.
also have a flooding issue in the basement floods. That's on the corner of Sanford.
This is Kathleen. Wasn't Be Good in there for about the last 4 or 5 years? I thought they just.
Yeah, that's right. So
It was
yeah,
the coffee shop before that.
right. Yeah, so it was my fault. Las Vegas. That was Las Vegas, I believe.
Yeah, they were
Wasn't
vacant.
it
Why?
Angel Store too? Wasn't it the Angel Store?
It might have-
I mean, they do turn over quite a bit, right? And is part of the building that white in the back? Like was Be Good the whole tenant or was there other space?
This is Kathleen. I believe the back space has either used clothing, there is a retail business in that white building on Sanford Street. I think it looks like it's all attached. It's definitely retail.
It's an odd-shaped building that has water issues in the basement. There's a flooding issue. I also have an appraisal for this property. And that's from that same Baldwin Pearson. And then the appraisal is at $850. So here's what I'm going to say again. I mean, I've got an appraisal for $850. We have the appellant's opinion of market value of $800. I would like to, Kathleen, how do I say this again?
I'm sorry, did the appellant ask for less than the appraisal?
Right.
Yeah, so why don't we have a discussion first, and then if you want to make a motion to amend it to amend the requested value to your new number.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll just wait. Then we can take 2 votes pretty quickly. Otherwise, if we do the amendment, then.
All right.
So you're thinking of going to the appraised value? That's sort of what you. That's what you want.
Yeah, well, that's what I have. I have that, and I have never varied from day one. When we have an appraisal, I go with an appraisal. That's it. Whether it's my appeal, your appeal, anybody else's appeal, we have an appraisal from a qualified individual, and in this case, it's an MAI appraiser for a commercial property. There's nothing better than that. That's what I'm going to go with.
Okay, so this is Kathleen. I just want to point out too, he's asking for a pretty significant, what's the new number? 850 from 800. Yeah, so same as Harold said last time, there's no income shown in here. We kind of look at what he's going to look like for 5 years as opposed to this year. So he was able to have Be Good in there for 4 or 5 years. It's a really good location. He's at what, $1.2 million now. I have heard that his rents are he charges a lot in rent, and that's why, like Las Vegas, moved around the corner because it was just an exorbitant place to hold their
That's
business.
not a nice thing that's not an appropriate thing to say.
Well, I'm just saying, if you charge, same with
That's not an appropriate thing to say. It's
if
not.
you have it on the market for way too high, you can't rent your space. And without any income to know what he was getting before, it's difficult for me to know with just a sales approach, how it works in that space when he does have a tenant. And he may get a tenant over the next 5 years, so.
This is Harold. This is Harold. It is a good location, but I don't believe that there's any parking included, this location.
No.
And even though it has a restaurant, it's not required to have parking. So as I recall, in years past, when we had our deliberations at the Old Town Hall. It was a source of picking up food for our dinners, so we did use it even last year. It is, I'm hearing that it is currently vacant. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. And so there are, the owner is seeking renters for, is it both portions or just the Be Good portion that is vacant? Is the back still rented? I thought the restaurant was in the back portion. I mean, the kitchen for the restaurant was in the back portion, but maybe not. Maybe the back portion is rented separately.
Harold, this is Paulette. I thought the kitchen was in the back too. I don't know what that back thing is back there, where they say there's another business.
So there's
I don't
yeah, this is Kathleen. So there's he has it on the market for rent. So let's just see what he's asking for rent on the space.
Be interested in knowing that.
Yeah, Ross just pulled it up. This is Kathleen.
Okay, this is Paulette. While we're waiting, there's a couple of things that jump out at me. And one of them is, and we've talked about this before, I think when we say things, we have to be careful. Myself included. Sometimes I say things I probably shouldn't say, but I think you get into the heat of it and you forget. I don't think it's a good idea to start saying that he charges too much rent, because it taints other people's opinions, and we have no proof of that.
This is Kathleen. Sorry.
To know that he really charges, he's asking too much, we'd have to find out what everybody else was charging. Do that for a similar space. I mean, you can't just, it's not just a blanket thing. It's depending on what the space is, where it is. I'm sure everybody understands that. The other thing is, I'm looking at these appeals, and I'm looking at the vacancies in downtown Fairfield, and it really worries me. It worries me because it's not good to have that many things vacant at any time. And who knows when it's going to come back in. The assessments and appraisals are based on when things are booming. These things are not booming. Will we get people in there? I don't know. But if we don't, we have a mess like we had with the Fairfield store building for how many years that was vacant. That wasn't very good for the town. I think that needs to be taken into consideration, not 5 years from now or the next 5 years what he can do. It's what's happening now. The appraisal is now, not 5 years from now.
Well, this is Harold. I have a question. I see on the listing that Ross had up momentarily ago, a minute ago, that it is double net as opposed to triple net. Can someone explain what the difference is? Someone on the board?
I didn't hear what you said, Harold.
Double versus the triple net. What is the tenant paying and what is the landlord paying when it's a double? Is that the utilities get passed through to the tenant?
Right, so you have a tax, you either have a gross lease, which includes everything, or like a triple net generally, which was taxes and insurance.
And
Rent, utilities.
utilities, okay. Double means something's being passed on to the tenant or something's being paid by the landlord. Which way does that mean?
That would mean something's being paid by the landlord. They're not
So it could mean that the taxes are paid by the landlord?
It could. I can't say for sure what their deal is, but it could be the taxes, it could be the utilities, it could be the insurance, it could be anything.
Right. Okay.
The landlord something.
Kathleen, your hand is up.
So, I mean, Ross had it up a minute ago. It's also listed under Caldwell Banker in a bunch of places. He's pricing it at $34 a square foot. Now, I don't know how I don't know how that calculates out, but I'm just saying, think about the restaurant that we did that was on the side street there the other night. Did they come down to $1 million, that restaurant? Remember, Cap? I don't remember who had that appeal. The Greek restaurant. So, right.
Around maybe 950, 975, high nines, 990,
Right.
990.
Right, for that property. And this is, I think, a bigger space. It does have a bar already in it. So there is a bar area in it. And I just want to say, if we bring him to 650, I'm not sure how we left that restaurant at, 950 to $1 million. That's just hard for me to swallow. So that's what I'm going to say.
All right.
Yeah, this one has no parking, and look, I'm just like, the thing with it, they're only one story. His properties, Carrie George's properties, the one that we just, I'm with you, Kathleen. I'm like, wow, that's awfully low. But I think like that I think is the issue. they're only the 1 story, so he can't get any office space or anything above it. So he's limited to 1 or 2 tenants. You know, I just did the quick calculation on that. I took the rent that like the Donut Inn is paying, and you know, he probably can't get more than $4,000 a month, 50 grand a year, because it's only the 1 story. And that also increases the risk because he can't get the, you know, he can't diversify his tenants because of the 1 story
Right.
thing.
And this is Harold. We did hear the property on the other side, that's Sanford Street, is that correct? Yeah, we did hear the property across the way, which was a mixed use, offices upstairs, that one. And, you know, that came in at $1.2 million something. This is much smaller, and it's only 1 floor, as you mentioned. There is no parking. We do want to keep small businesses in the town. And so I'm ready to vote on an amendment and on a final approval,
Okay.
final vote. So if somebody wishes to make an amendment, please, Judy, raise your hand if you wish to make an amendment. Judy?
Yeah, and I thank you. Yeah, the appraisal is $850,000, and I'd like to, Kathleen, what's the verbiage?
Sure, you would like to make an amendment to grant the appeal in part and reduce the town's value to 850,000.
I'd like to make a motion to grant in part on appeal number 196 to the amount of $850,000. Is there a second?
This is Harold, I would second.
Thank you, Harold.
So, yes,
Only
Catherine.
50, I think it was 850,000, just to make, to be
That's what I
clear.
said.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the 1,000, so I was like, oh, let's just be clear.
Okay,
$850,000 is the value that is being voted on as an amendment to grant the town's value, to change the town's value to $850,000. All those in favor of the motion to amend, please raise your hand. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 in favor. Opposed? 1 opposed. The motion is carried to change the value, the town's value to $850,000. And now the motion to grant in part to $850,000. Judy, do you wish to make that motion?
Harold, it's already on the table because that was an amendment. So all we need to do is vote on it.
See, now I'm doing twice the work I have to do. Okay,
Yeah.
all those in favor of granting this appeal to $850,000, please raise your hand. 4 in favor, opposed? 1 opposed. The appeal is granted in part to $850,000. The vote is 4 in favor, 1 opposed. Kathleen opposed. Thank you.
I think this is my last one. As far as I can tell, Kathleen, you can confirm that.
It is, and it looks like it's a withdrawal. I clicked on it, so
I can say you would just go let me enjoy my peace and my time.
sorry.
Really?
We
Are
got
you
3 more to
sure?
go. We're good.
Are you sure?
Please, one at a time, one at a time.
All right, this is Judy. This is, I'd like to discuss appeal number 483.
Yeah, and
Yep.
because it
Kathleen?
is a withdrawal,
Kathleen?
we don't need to vote on it. That's all I'm saying. We don't
No,
need
I
to
just,
vote.
Okay. You know, would you mind? It's my last one. Okay.
Sorry.
Join the club.
I didn't want to take a motion. I don't want to have to take a
Okay,
motion.
okay. Here,
One at a
Kathleen,
time.
here. Good.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's appeal number 483 at 1740 Post Road. That's the Starbucks. This appeal was withdrawn. So I don't know if we're doing anything on it, but just letting you know it was withdrawn. So I don't know what we do. Do you vote on that or no?
No, this is Harold. I believe we just mark it withdrawn by the appellant.
Okay?
Yes,
Okay.
and that's been, this is Kathleen, it's been confirmed, sorry, I apologize, Judy. It's
Oh,
been-
yeah, you're in
it's
trouble
been-
now.
But you finished next.
So I'm all done now. That was it.
Congratulations, Judy. It's been a pleasure. Don't go away.
Never
Ma'am,
going anywhere.
So she's having issues connecting.
This is like the great race. The last one in, it gets booted.
Well, I think Kathleen, well, as long as one of us is finishing every day, that's a good sign. But I'm going to need Kathleen to come back from her buffering because I have to ask about how the process for bringing something back to the table or whatever. So, but none of us can do anything with Kathleen buffering because now we don't have a
Well,
quorum.
This is Harold. I must say, buffering happens usually when we have too many people speaking over one another.
That's good.
That's probably why.
It's a good note.
Hey, Harold, how about a 10-minute break till shortly after 11?
No, no, let's
Uh,
finish. I've got things to do.
Kathleen's coming back.
I think we're only going on to 11:30 today, so if we can bear with it for the other 35 minutes, I'd like to continue.
Yep,
Now you're in twice.
am I in twice? Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me twice?
No, I hear you once.
All right, so we'll leave it, as long as it's working. It shut me out for some reason. I don't know what happened, so.
You're buffering.
Because you took away my glory, that's why I shut you out.
I'm sure I get slapped. I get it.
All right, we have
My bad.
folks.
All right, well, Kathleen, I have a procedural question, if I could ask your,
Sure.
I'd like to bring something back, and I believe that it was a tie vote. And I believe that you were one of the ones that, quote, won the motion. I think Harold was also one.
Right. So we're going to bring all those back next week. We'll do, because there's several of them, and we're giving everybody the opportunity to, read.
How do I get that on the list? I just email it to you?
I haven't even decided that process, so we'll just bring them up that night and just make sure you have somebody, who will vote to bring it back to the table. I think we need to decide if we want to share all that with everybody or we just want to do it at the meeting. But yeah, we decided that we would try to get all of the ones that need a decision first out of the way.
Fine.
But yeah, nope,
So,
there's several. So
So,
if it's okay, I'll do Appeal 383 next, which is the motel.
how many do you have left?
Ross?
Ross,
Oh, this is
Dan.
Kathleen. Do you have any information on that one?
I do. I had a call from David Herbst. He's an appraiser with Municipal Valuations. He did look at the property, but I did not get to speak with him.
So could you put it in the assessor requested by assessor if we deny it? I mean, we can talk about it. I don't know that everybody's going to be comfortable voting on the large reduction, but if you feel like you can have a conversation with him before that we do the vote on the requested by assessor, if you're comfortable with that number, we can put it in that way and deny it.
Yeah, I can do that. And this is Ross, and I'll try to speak with him today.
Okay, do we want to deny it then? Is that the best process?
I'll leave that up to you.
Will it mess up with you if we deny it and then you put it in the requested by assessor? Or should we take no action and agree
Or you
that
can
we'll?
reconsider it.
Okay, I think that's a good way to get these at least done once. Okay.
All right, this is Harold. If you could please identify the property and call it to the table.
Sure, this
Harold,
is
Paulette had her hand up.
Yes,
let's-
Paulette. Sorry, I was looking at the information.
That's great. Let's hear the information, then I'll raise my hand again.
I'm sorry. What was the comment or question?
I said I had my hand up, but let Kathleen start it, and let me hear what's going on first, and then I'll ask my question.
Okay.
Sure, so this is appeal number 383. The property address is 100 Kings Highway Cutoff. The owner of the property is BlackRock Acquisition LLC. The town has the property valued at $4,052,000, and the appellant is requesting a reduction to $1,900,000. So I make a motion to grant this appeal and reduce the requested value to $1,900,000.
This is Harold. I'll second.
Okay, so this is the Best Western on Black Rock Turnpike. On Kings Highway Cutoff. It's named the Best Western Black Rock. It's 58 rooms, a 2-story motel with interior corridors built in the late 50s. And they did not have an informal hearing. At the hearing was present, or it was actually a phone hearing. The owner was on Kevin Patel, the owner was on the call, as well as Tom Dolan, who was the lead presenter on it, and Kevin O'Neill, another authorized representative on the property. It turns out he didn't, I'll back up a little bit, but during our discussion, we realized he did not have an informal hearing, and he had not hired Mr. Dolan at the time that he needed to in December to help him with his appeal. And so he brought them in later on at this point in the process. So I said, I had asked him if he was not aware that he could do such a thing, and his attorney. So anyway, so during our hearing, I had suggested, or I said, I don't know if Mr. Kieran can review this for the board or not, but perhaps if he can, it would help us come up with, a proper evaluation of the information that they're presenting. So they talked a lot about the impact of COVID, that the hotel industry has been devastated by that, and it will take 5 years to come back. There is quite a bit of income and expense information on page, let me see where it is in here. He shows the net, the amounts, how does he describe it? Unadjusted income as well as adjusted income is on page 9. So he came out with, he adds back, he took out the real estate tax, but then added back the management fees and some other information into it. He used a cap rate of 10%? It's on the next page. He used a cap rate, I believe, of 10%. I asked him, why is most of the other ones we're hearing in 7 and 8. He said for the hotel industry, 10 to 12% is about, is about where hotels are. He had used it at 10. And what else?
This is Harold.
Back for motels. I'm sorry. He just wants to, I think he wants to stay at 1.9, which is where he was before. I think the appraisal says 1.8. His valuation went up slowly. And just that hotels, he's been lucky because he's one of the few hotels in Fairfield, so there's not a ton of places for people to stay. But based on the numbers he showed, at least for 2019, 2020, it showed a value of the 1.98.
This is Harold. It appears that although this is a chain motel, I'm wondering if this is franchised and that Mr. Patel or BlackRock Acquisition owns this and as a franchise. I don't know that it matters, but I'm just curious if he's bearing the burden of this himself or if it's being shared with Best Western corporate. Everybody?
Yes, Kathleen, we didn't talk about that. He did pay $6 million for it in 2014. The town has it at $4 million now. So again, without some help from somebody taking a look at this and bringing him down to below 2 million, I wasn't comfortable with that. So it sounds like we may have more information to make a better decision, other than, the paperwork that Mr. Dolan presented for him. So.
This is Paulette. Now I do have
This is Harold. I think I've just answered my own question on page 9. I see something listed as a franchise fee. Okay. It is a franchise operating. Anybody need more time?
Yes, this is Paulette. I do have a question.
Yes.
So we're having the revaluation company do like an informal hearing for him to see if they can help get his value down? Is that what we're requesting?
This is Kathleen. I was requesting some help in evaluating the backup for this in hopes that because he did not have an informal, that we might gain more information that could be helpful to an industry that has about will take a bit to come back. So that was my request, to get more information from Mr. Kieran.
And we have done someone else in the commercial appeals, right?
I'm sorry.
We haven't done that with any other appellant in the commercial portion of the appeals. Some of them have had informal hearings, some of them didn't. And the ones that didn't, that we had to, there were much bigger numbers, and we didn't decide on, or we decided to deny because we didn't have the information or we weren't comfortable. Did we offer to have anybody help us with those?
This is Harold. If you're asking the board in general, I can't recall. I can't recall any. I don't know if anybody else can speak. I think what stands out about this property is the great disparity between what the appellant is asking, what the town has it at, and the information as being provided. If you said that they did not have an informal, or they went before the informal and did not have a change? I don't remember.
This is Kathleen. He did not have an informal. He hired his helpers. He hired the gentleman to help him after the informal hearing process was over.
So
He has a mailing address in Florida, right, for this property. So we can, if we feel we should discount any information that Mr. Kieran gives us, we can then just vote on this appeal and deny it now, or we can decide later whether we want to consider it at all or not to help this appellant. And maybe the best option is for him to go to court anyway. I know I'm not comfortable voting to bring him down to the 2 million that they're requesting.
Why would you discount the information? Why did you say? Why are you discounting the information you provided?
This Kathleen, I just said I'm not comfortable analyzing a hotel business and bringing it down by 50%, down to 2 million from where the town has it at 4 million. I'm not comfortable doing that. Maybe you guys are comfortable with what information they provided, but I'm not without any help.
This is Paulette. I'm not either comfortable or uncomfortable with it. I'm not comfortable with it unless I really take the time to sit and review it all. And even then I might not be comfortable with it. My point is, we have not offered that to anybody else. We shouldn't be offering it to him. That's one side of it. The other side of it is, he hired somebody to help him after the informal process. Now we're asking somebody from the evaluation company to come in, and as I always say, get the town side gets another bite at the apple, and then this guy's left swinging in the breeze. We can't do that. It's either one or other. If we ask for help for everybody, then we should ask, or for, I don't even say for everybody, for a majority, then yes, we could ask for help if we need it. But let's face it, he's not gonna drop this thing down to where the guy wants it anyway. It'll never happen. So all we're going to do is get more information that makes us feel comfortable saying no. So I just don't think it's right that one person out of all those appeals, what do we have, over 100 appeals, gets to have their stuff looked at by the evaluation company after this time for that is over.
Members of the board, I'd like to ask what we believe the objective was to ask for this additional step in the process, if to try to help the appellant perhaps come up with a more reasonable town value that we could consider, or to see if there are changes that the town could make on the card information that would also be beneficial to the appellant. And so I think that the goal was to see if if the appellant could get some relief, then we could vote on that. But perhaps the relief could be made there by the town, and then we could vote accordingly. Now, you're right, Paulette. We may end up voting to deny, and we may vote to grant, but there also might be changes to the card that the town will make that would be beneficial to the appellate. So I don't think we're looking to penalize this appellant. We're looking to see if there's some justification for the town to make an adjustment before we consider a vote. That's the way I look at it.
Harold, I wasn't looking at it as though we were trying to punish him, although I'm not sure that we're not, but I'm going to say that we're not. That's not my intent. What I'm saying is he's been giving a chance now to have his value changed by us after we have somebody come in and look at it. And if it works, that's great. I'd like to try out, but we haven't done that for anybody else. We're doing it for one. Again, inconsistencies are the thing that causes problems.
Kathleen, I think we have been asking for help all along. We've been going to the assessor and making requests for help from zoning and from Mike Fazio and from other places to come up with to get comfortable with numbers that people are asking for and giving us more background information so we can make better informed decisions. And so I have been asking for help all along, and I asked for help with this one. So
Yes.
whether it's considered an informal hearing or help for me as a board member, we can consider it, either way. We've gone out and visited people's properties with the we've done a variety of different things. So I'm ready to vote on this one, but I wanted to state that I do think we can use whatever resources, we need.
I would like to add that, during our deliberations, we have asked for assistance from Bill Hurley in engineering, Jim Baldwin, the town attorney, Jim Wendt from B&Z. We have had presentations by Mike Fazio. We've also been invited to hear seminars on FOI and Robert's rules. We've also had opportunities to listen to CAA, BAA training. So there's information that we have gathered all along to help us in making our decisions. So if we need more time, that's fine. If there's any further comment, that's fine. Otherwise, I'd like to call a vote. Catherine, you have your hand.
Thank you. I'll make my comment. It's amazing to me every day that I sit here how you guys can twist stuff to work for you. We did not have certain people come to sit and talk to an appellant. We've had them come and talk to us about a problem we needed help with. This time you're asking the company, the evaluation company, to go over somebody's stuff and decide whether or not they should get a discount. That's a little bit different than zoning come and discuss the zoning rules for us, or Bill Hurley come and discuss engineering with us. And as far as Mr. Fazio, he got 2 chances to tell a big story, and that was nice of him. It was not on a particular appeal. It was on general information that the board felt would help them make decisions. What I say doesn't matter. Just do what you want anyway, like you always do. So let's not waste any more time. Let's just get it on with. But the next time,
Can we call for a vote, Harold, so we've got 2 more appeals. We can get them in before we have to vote.
Whoa. Do you not have to follow the rules? Is it just me? Do you get to talk?
I can call the question. I'd like to call the question.
Here we are doing it again.
Can we just let Paulette finish what she was going to say?
All right, never mind. I'll withdraw my call the question.
Whatever you want to do, I don't care. Get it over with. Let's just vote. Call to question. I'm in the middle of my sentence, please. Every single day, it's something new. You just kill me. You just do. I don't understand. It really. You run over the board. Harold lets you do whatever you want. He never stops you, and we just have it your way. So let's just finish up. We only have another 15 minutes or so to go. Let's finish it up. Do what you want. You always do anyway. I guess it's nice when you're working in the assessor's office that you have all this extra information. You can do whatever you want, and you don't ever consider that you have a conflict of interest.
Point
All
of order, please.
I'd like to call a vote.
And nothing
Paulette, you
say about that.
said let's.
From the beginning, and nobody says a word about it. We just pretend it doesn't exist.
All right.
If I call the assessor today, is he going to let me come work in his office like you got to do? I doubt it.
Excuse me. I'd like to call a vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. I have 3 opposed abstentions. 2 abstentions. The appeal is not granted. The motion does not carry. The vote is 0-3-2, Judy and Paula abstaining. I would just like to add that when I asked Mr. Hurley to go view a property on Black Rock Turnpike, he did come back with information that helped the board make a determination that lowered the appraised value to the requested amount. So it's not true that we don't ask for assistance from various departments to review the information that the town has presented, and we use that information to vote accordingly. And I don't think that that's the only instance where we've done that.
Correct, Harold. However, what's the expression? You don't ask the fox to watch the chicken coop. You don't ask the person who did the evaluations to go back out and redo the work. It's a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing from the appellant. But again, go ahead now. Go ahead and tell me what else we did that I'm wrong about.
So this is Kathleen. I'd like to,
We voted on this. Do you have another appeal, Kathleen?
I do, and I'd like to do it, and then let's let Catherine do her real estate one, so we end up with one real estate. So this is appeal number 59.
How
The
many
property
commercials
address.
do you have left? How many commercials do you have left, Kathleen?
This is the last one.
Oh, let's go.
Let's go. Right. That was the goal for this morning, and to get your real estate in if we can. So let's go. 59, appeal number 59. Property address is 293 Pequot Avenue, unit number 1. The appellant was Kathy Fingelli Granenberg. I'm sorry, the town's value is $494,600, and the appellant is requesting a reduction to $400,000. So I make a motion to grant this request and reduce the appraised value to $400,000.
Catherine.
Is there a second?
Catherine?
Catherine, second.
Okay, so this is the appellant was Kathy Fingelli Granenberg. This is a commercial condo. So we've had a couple other commercial condos. This is another one. It is next to Sammy's Pizza. She purchased the condo. I believe not exactly sure all of the background on it, but she is appealing the one of the 2 condos on the property. And she paid $552,500. It was eventually subdivided into 2 condos. It was a very active rental property pre-COVID. She had Driftwood Farmhouse in there with the previous tenant, but it's been vacant for a year. A lot of people looking at it, but no one committing to a lease. It's been on the market for a year. She said it's a hardship to pay the taxes. She said if she could sell it for $500,000, she would. She says it has, one of the condos has no parking and the other one has 1 parking spot, I believe. It's 836 square feet. Do I have the right one up? I don't know why it's 3,000 square feet. We have the wrong card associated with it, Ross. She said it was 836 square feet.
I see that. It's in the field card. It's right included in the appeal.
Okay, so I probably
On
hyperlinked.
page 10. Look on page 10. Okay.
Yeah. So we hyperlinked the wrong field card. Sorry. That's what happened. Yeah,
This is Ross. Would you like me to put the right one in?
Just let's make sure
Right
we have the
now?
right one. I hyperlinked it on the spreadsheet and I may have hyperlinked the wrong, maybe does it have the wrong PID on it? I'm not sure. 107,097. I just want to make sure we have the right unit.
That's what I have, yes.
So it's the leftmost unit in the building. I don't know if we can tell from that, but, and the town's value was 494. That's what she said. Okay.
Yeah, even the field card picture shows space available on that.
Right. And she gave me some comparable sales. 1735 Post Road, unit number 4. It seems like it's a condo complex sort of near St. Thomas, that sold in December of 19, for 400,000. And then I think this is another bill. She gave me 24 Thorpe Street, which is sort of behind Shoe Restaurant. She said that sold for 492,000, I believe, on in March of 21. And then she gave me, and she did talk about what the rent was. She said she was getting $32.50 pre-COVID a month. That was $3,000 a month plus, I guess, $250 for utilities. And some of the comps, you know, she said were larger and better, had more in better shape and had parking. The 24 Thorpe Street, she said, was in mint condition. I think it's, oh, maybe that sold, I guess, 1 year ago. And she listed 181 Post Road that's on the market for 1.5 million. That's 6,000 square feet with 16 parking spaces. So she didn't provide any income information in her packet.
Excuse me, Kathleen, I have to interrupt you. She did provide it. She brought it to town hall. She asked them to scan it into her file. Michelle told her no. She shouldn't do it. She shouldn't make it public. But then she said she wanted it. So Michelle told her to email her permission to do it, which she did. And I forwarded that to you a little while ago. And it's still not in her file.
Okay.
You need to this is Rush, you need to refresh it. It has been scanned in and updated.
And the other condo, is that Sammy's? Is that how it was divided? So the other commercial condo is the restaurant next door, the pizzeria next door? Is that how I understand that?
I
think
was Kathleen. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think, Ross, is that the whole, it's just the left building, I'm pretty sure, right? Not the right building.
So if it's 800 square
Yeah.
feet, okay. I just want
Yeah,
a picture.
my understanding is 856 square feet. It's a small, and you know, and I think the other condo that's next door to it maybe comes with one parking space or something. That was my understanding. That building was split in half and made into 2 condos.
And so her property is, even though the picture shows her property and Sammy's, it's just the left-hand side of that. Sammy's would be not part of this.
That was my understanding, yes.
Okay. No, I just wanted to, you know, like that's not a sublet tenant or something. And she's talking about 800 square feet of just office space, like for insurance.
And condo office space with no parking.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't, you know, both units, or the only thing is it's that one.
This
Okay.
is how, does it
And look,
need more time?
and she verbally mentioned rent, so that's what the hearing officer's for. So it doesn't have to go all the way in the file. I believe that. That's good. I'm good.
Okay. Any further comment, discussion? I'll call a vote. If not, okay, all those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value, please raise your hand. I have 5 in favor. It's unanimous. The appeal is granted to the requested value of $400,000. Thank you. What do we have left, folks? 10 minutes.
Catherine has one.
Catherine,
She'll be done. Harold is
a
done.
hipster,
Only
a
Alexis.
hipster.
Let's see. Okay. Appeal number 458, ladies.
Was this residential?
It is residential.
Okay.
It is, okay. Appeal 458 for Gerald McCormick and Eileen Liu. Property location is 101 Waterville Road. The town has the value of $1,765,000, and the appellant, and I'd like to make a motion on the appellant's behalf to reduce that value to his fair market value of $1,142,900.
This is Kathleen. I'll
Do I
second it.
Thank you. So I remember this is one of my first appeals, so that's why I've been holding off on it, because it came in with 73 pages of documentation, and I was a little overwhelmed. So note to future appellants, please, that's a lot for a hearing officer to go through. But I did, and I wanted to take the time to go through it. So this is a 5,300 square foot stone cape built in 1932, 5 bedrooms, 3.5 baths on 3+ acres, plus a 1,400 square foot, 2 bedroom, 1 bath cottage or ADU on the property. And the cottage, just before the previous revaluation, they had permits taken out in almost $200,000 to make that a cottage, and add improvements to make it. So it's not an outbuilding. It's definitely a lovely cottage. However, the 1932 home does have those single pane windows in steel. It does have the leaks, old heating, only part of it is air conditioned. And the property itself has some small frontage, and then it veers out to over the 3 acres. Okay, so I always ask, well, how do you come up with your value? If the towns are like, why do you come up with, and so the answer is, in 2009, so the last big reval, it was assessed. I'm going to convert all the numbers that he used to the appraised number so we can just focus on those. But in 2009, the town had appraised for $1,564,000. And in 2019, after the cottage was added on and permitted, he went in and got an appeal and got a change from the Board of Assessment. So that was just last year, done 1 year ago based on the 2019 grand list. And the assessed value, which he is now requesting for his appraised value, they did make a change so that it's the assessed value was the $1,143,000, which is what he's asking for now. Okay, so that Board of Assessment grant in part was for a reduction of $232,000, bringing his fair market value or the town's appraisal value to $1.3 million. He's not asking for the $1.3 million, he's asking for the assessment. Land, and he said that the reduction was made from the town's value of $1.6 million to $1.3 million, and it should have stuck because his lot was kind of odd shaped and has some wetlands, and that's why he thought he got the reduction, and now it didn't stick. Okay, and it didn't stick. However, his land hasn't really gone up that much. Now that the town is at $1,765,000, the land is still valued about the same. His dwelling increased slightly, $90,000, and the outbuilding did almost double, but is still at $80,000 as the appraisal, and we know that the permits were for $180,000. So he does have a pool, and basically he's asking for the previous Board of Assessment revaluation down. So instead of $1.6 million last year, it's now $1,765,000, and he'd like to be at the $1,143,000. So that's the best way I can summarize about 60 of the pages. That was it. So I still asked, well, what would be the fair market value of this? Because, that is an area that has very kind of unique homes. That's not a development. And many of the pictures that he's included here, especially for like 1139 Mill Hill Road, these are estate properties. And that did sell for $1.3 million. But if you're looking at those pictures, it's, really like a European estate. And his idea is, well, if that's valued, how could I possibly be valued similarly? So that again is his argument. He also has 375 Warner Hill in there with more pictures. Again, that's a 1911 estate that was sold, you know, and the realtors, as they say, majestically set on 5+ acres. He also mentions 100 Waterville, which is his neighbor at least, and why the town would have that appraised lower. That's a 3,400 square foot colonial built in 1980. It's viewed as waterfront because it is a very large pond, but it also does have a pool. And so there, and then I took it on myself to see, well, what else has sold in the area. And last month there was a sale at 621 Warner Hill Road. Again, it's a 1998 modern farmhouse, but at least the size of it is also a 5-bedroom, 6-bath home, and that sold for over $2 million on just a little over 1 acre. So I have tried to substantiate. I do realize, you know, that his house is, you know, the 1936 and does come with all of that charm and functional discrepancies, but I could, you know, ask folks what they think. I mean, if the town value of $1,765,000 seems a little high, I can't really go for the 1,000,001. Does anybody have any comments or any questions or?
This is Harold. I think that Kathleen has her hand up.
Yeah,
I was
and I
just
just
gonna, this is Kathleen. I was looking at the comps, right? So the 100 Waterville didn't sell, so he's looking at how the town has that valued. The one that did sell is the Warner Hill, but we know the town had that at 2.1 million. And he's saying in his backup that the Warner Hill house is superior to his house, which as we know, since we reduced that property significantly because it had so much repair that needed to be done for it, I find it really hard to say that, you know, that house is comparable but superior to ours in the size, construction date, and style. So I have a hard time here, you know, he didn't say, I guess, the inside, but still living area, and the town had that one at 2.1. So if Warner Hill was in good shape and should have been at 2.1, you know, is he appropriate? Is the subject property appropriate at 1.7? And there's very little, the town is not appraising him much for the cottage, right? The cottage is appraised at $67,000. That's the value on the building. So he's got an accessory dwelling unit that he can rent out, and it was just remodeled for $200,000. So I see a lot of value in that cottage that the town has not recognized on the field card. And perhaps, you know, if maybe the town would have had him even higher than that if the cottage was recognized as an accessory dwelling, or perhaps that's valued into his land somehow, I don't know. But his land didn't go up much. I mean, I can't see the 1.1. I can't get there. And a lot of it is comparing, how come my neighbor has this value, and, you know, when instead of talking about his own house. So,
and maybe you
This
could
is Harold. Does anyone need more time?
No. Oh, we're all back. Thank you. I'm going to ask
I will
Ross to.
call a vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value, please raise your hand. I have one in favor.
Two in favor.
I see now two in favor. We have two in favor. All those opposed, please raise your hand. 3 opposed. The motion is not passed. The appeal is not granted. The vote is 2-3-0. Judy and Paulette voting in favor. Does that complete your list, Catherine?
It does. If I could make one request on this appeal, there's about 4 or 5 field cards at the end of the appeal, Ross, that, you know, did come in with the appellant. I'm not saying, but they are not germane to this discussion at all, and I think they should be removed. I think he probably had just pulled some field cards and stuck them in the pile. They start with the address would be 25 Shady Hill Road, and And if you could just take out the next 4 or 5 field cards. I think they were for his personal use and not germane to the file. I requested.
So
deletion.
323 Warner stays in.
Correct.
Okay.
I want Biddy Hill out. I want Fife Road out. I want Edgewood out, and I want Woodbridge and Verna Hill. I like the last. And
Last
yes,
5 pages.
correct. I appreciate that.
So, in answer to my question, Catherine, are you complete?
Let me look.
That's good news. Kathleen,
Thank
what do
you
you
all.
have?
I couldn't have done it without you.
I know we were planning to end this meeting at 11:30, I believe.
11:45, I think, or whatever, but I think, yeah, I'm good for, you know.
If anybody
we
has
just-
more, I'm getting a haircut. Think I
Do you
got
have
some.
any more, Kathleen, how many
No,
more?
the only person with appeals left is Alexis, and then again, any of those ones that want to be reconsidered, people have more information now when they feel that, they would like to bring it back to the board. I think we'll do those when we do the recommended by assessor appeal, process. So Alexis still needs some time. She's not available tomorrow. So we're looking at, I don't know that we want to do all that in one night if she's still got 6 beach properties left. So I'm still waiting to hear people's availability Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. And I'm hoping between those nights we can get Alexis a quorum to finish her 6 and get everybody together on one night, so that we can do the reconsiders and the
Yes.
and the recommended by assessors. I think we should separate those into 2 nights. That's my thought. Oh, Ross has his hand up, so.
Ross?
Yeah, I just want you to check appeals 7 and 226. They were both heard by you, Kathleen, and I show those as not decided yet.
7 was withdrawn. And there were several emails saying that it was withdrawn. And what was the other one? 26?
226.
226.
226. Please don't tell me I missed one.
I was like, oh, I'm so glad they got Kathleen and not Catherine.
Yeah, this was South Pine Creek Road. I have it as decided that we denied it. I'm pretty sure it's one of the ones across from the golf course, and I did the 2 of them together. They're across from the par 3. This was one, I think this is the Raised Ranch, and I know we did that one, I can tell you.
I kind of feel like I
Okay.
heard that.
Yeah, we definitely did them together. I have it decided on 3/20, and it was denied. March 20th.
All right.
Okay, I'll check my notes.
Yeah, so if everybody could get me their availability, I would sincerely appreciate that. I would say it's not going to be before 6 on any night and between Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Hopefully we can get everybody for one night and get Alexis for 6 maybe I think she wants to do them on Monday. So we just need a quorum for her on Monday and then maybe Tuesday or Wednesday for the others.
So this is Harold. We definitely need to have Alexis's time availability on Monday to know when we start, because those are the appeals that we have left. Judy, you have your hand up? You're muted. Yes, Judy?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Do we have a second?
Everyone
Kathleen
have
is the
a
second.
lovely weekend. I am
So
second.
thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
This meeting is.
Well, you have to vote, right? Don't you have to all in favor?
Yes, you have to vote.
To vote.
All in favor of adjournment, raise your hand. All right, thank you, folks. Thank
Bye
you.
all.
Ross.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for doing
And
this.
thank you, Kathy.
Very
Thank you,
helpful. Thank you, Kathy. Bye, Ross.
All right, good weekend. Bye-bye.